Hey guys, thanks for tuning into the channel today, and this is an update on, for one, the slime that I put into the front tyre of this bike. Number two, a new drone I'm bringing in to see if I can do any better tracking shots. Number three will be info on a new bike I've purchased and pick up tomorrow. So first up on this bike, you might recall that I did that slime test where I put it appears, even though it recommended 8 ounces per wheel or per tyre, I put in the 8 ounces and got the bike into a state of not really good balance when I was riding it, a fair bit of shake up front. So in the meantime, what I've done is I actually pulled that wheel off, got the slime out of it. It didn't look too good after I'd done that, so I decided I'd put the original tyre back on the front. So that front tyre's on there, no slime in it. Now I got the bike shop to do it, so he also had to balance the tyre. So you can see a fair bit of weight there now on the front wheel to get the wheel balance. I don't know if it was like that in the first place or whether or not the bit of work pulling the tubes on and off caused any drama there, but I asked him to balance to make sure it was right. I've taken this bike out along the road now and give it a bit of a speed run. The front wobble's gone and I got it up to around about 92 kilometres per hour GPS. So that part worked out alright. But the only problem is up around, once again, 75. Now I've got the rear end shake from this tyre, which has got 8 ounces of slime in it too. So I think the idea, if you're going to put slime in one of these for tube tyres, forget about what they recommend at 8 ounces and probably try 4. That may be the way to go. Now I also found that while I was riding the bike out along the road, when I did get it up to 90 or something, the bike performed fairly well. There was no drama running this factory tyre back here at the front and the one at the rear. So I'm thinking now whether or not to go back to straight factory front or rear, or whether I'll leave the back one on, try to get some of the slime out or put a new tube in it and go from there, because the bike does handle all right with it. There's no trouble whatsoever. It ran along well out along the road, so that's something for me to think about. Plus another reason why I went back to this stock standard tyre idea, I always said from the start when I went up to the bigger tyres it slowed the bike down a bit, so any work I'd done on the bike had affected it in that way where it was a no-win situation. I got a bit more performance, put big tyres on that, dropped back into performance there. So I don't know whether or not I'll actually keep these tyres or just forget that idea totally. I think either way, I'll probably test it a couple of times with this wide back chunky off-road style tyre compared to the ones I got here on the front, see how that idea goes. In the slime side of things, maybe the idea with the slime would be to carry a little compressor and battery pack like I just did in the previous video to pump the tyre up. Buy a bottle of the slime for tube tyres, but only use it as an emergency if you get out along the road and do get a puncture, and you can just put it in after that and see how it goes. So there's a few things to think about how you could go about this, but my recommendation now would be, if you're going to put any in the tyres, especially a tube tyre on a small bike, work on 4 ounces and try that, and that may work quite well. So apart from that, that's all I can tell you on the update. We're back to stock standard on the front. We got the big wider one at the back with the slime still in it. It developed a mid rear end wobble on it out along the road, but the front steers really well now, so there's no trouble there. So the slime, by putting too much in the front tyre, or on both of them, definitely brought in a high speed wobble, or higher speed for this bike. So you have to be careful exactly how much you put in, or it'll throw your wheels out of balance. So keep that in mind if you do come to that. And we'll go on to my other news on part 2 and part 3 on this same clip, and we'll look at what I've got to say there on that one. So I'll swing in to that area and we'll look at the drone. So guys, over the past 2 months I've been using this Mavic Mini 2, and here it is here. It's a pretty good little drone, but the only problem is it won't track. Now a couple of people have asked me, why don't I put a drone up and let it track me when I'm riding the motorcycle? Well, there's the answer now. This one won't do it. So these are $600 drones, and they do a really good job, and I've had no trouble with it whatsoever, and it throws really nice images and fairly easy to fly. But to get something that tracks, you've got to swing yourself up into something a bit better. And I just picked this one up in the last day, and it arrived. I haven't even put it together or anything like that. And this is the Mavic Air 2. Now this is a really good drone, and it's capable of tracking. It's got sensors on it. at the back, underneath, at the front. So it's capable of doing all you can, provided you know how to fly it. Now, I looked at about 15 different clips before I decided to buy this, and believe it or not, the clip which sort of swung and influenced me into buying it was not one that I'd looked at. It had 20 or 50,000 views or a couple 100,000 views. In another case was this young guy over there that had bought this to track his motorcycle, and he'd only had 23 views at that stage. And I found that sometimes you can get the best information on some channels that don't really get much airplay on YouTube anyway. So he did a really good job, and I'm going to put a link in the description for you to have a look at this drone in action, because it's a waste of time me going out flying at this stage because I don't know how to fly it. So he's already been out, tested it, had it tracking the bike, and it's a really good clip, and it only goes 4 minutes. So maybe in your best interest, if you're ever thinking about flying a drone or buying a drone, go and ahead, check out this clip, and I think you'll find it well worth, and you'll be surprised how well this drone will track. Now, while I'm at it, it won't track as good as the best drone on the market, I think, at the moment, which is very hard to get. And there's a waiting order on it. It's just like anything, it's good. There's always a waiting list, and if you want to buy one of those and they're not available here in Australia, that sort of drone will set you back around $3,000 if you can get someone to line up, wait in line, get it for you and post it over to you, or you buy one sort of on the black market to get it that way and pay the extra price. So there's no change out of $3,000. But I think this one will do the trick. I may look into that other drone later and get it and bring it along, because it is without doubt what I think the best tracking drone in the world at the moment for the money. But that's beside the point. If you can't get it, it's not much use going into detail. But this one here does track well. So I hope you have a look at that clip, what I put up for you, see how it works, and you'll get a rough idea when I know how to use it, that I hopefully I'll get shots like that when I go on this long run on the bike and into the rough country, which I'm going to take this drone. So that's about it on that one. And number 3 on my list of things I was going to talk about is I've purchased a new bike, and I've been waiting now for it for 10 weeks, and it just arrived in the shop yesterday, so I went out and took 4 shots for you to have a look at. And it's a Kawasaki KLX 150. It's a nice, neat looking bike. I think it's a very attractive bike. It looks like it's really well put together, so if you take that into account, I think you'll be interested in at least watching me do a test run on it and see what I think of the bike, and that'll be something for you to look for in the future. So I'll whip up 4 photos I took of that in the shop, and once again, thanks for tuning in, taking a look, and we'll catch up with you later.